May all prediction points rest in peace as Lightside take down Ruddy on a stellar long game as well. Let's start with the elegy Ruddy have on first level.
Yeah, I was getting a drink, so Carvis, take it away.
Yeah, so the level 1 fight engaged near the Raptors went arguably well for Ruddy. Both of the bot laners got 2 kills. Caitlyn getting the first blood and the 2 kills usually is a good thing, but Ruddy didn't really get much done with it. And once we got into the middle stages of the game, through Sumi and Bartholdi's incredible mid-jungle synergy, they were able to punish Alex multiple times, not having to flash on the Jace, and just skyrocketed the game ahead. And eventually, it just turned into a positioning warfare around the objectives where Fruity Fresh's usually permabanned way got to show what it's made of.
And that's important because you have a team that is fighting Ruddy. We're talking about a team that could make the top 4. They made a lot of show in the previous split. All of a sudden, they're coming in with a good team. Lightside lost yesterday, but they come up with the victory. So that's why I want to talk with Elijah to understand how the game went in the future. Hey there, Elijah. How are you doing? I'm not gonna sing, but welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm doing good, feeling good after the win. But I cannot take much credit for myself. It was my incredible jungle, my support, my AD carry, my mid lane. They did all the work. I just sat top lane, being a good little kid in top lane, and did my thing.
You know, you were just being a top lane and on your own island, just having fun, just enjoying League PvE. But no, positioning into this game was really important. And how was the communication going as you guys were fighting head on? It was not that far away from a Ruddy comeback as well. So tell me, how was the team communicating on Discord, TeamSpeak, whatever? How was the communication going on?
We were talking a lot. Luckily there was not clutter. We were mostly on the same page. Some small mistakes as the game continued. Got pretty drastic in the end, a bit panic here and there, I think. But in the end, we managed to pull through. I think the communication was a lot better this game than compared to yesterday. So I'm happy for like a 1-1 week.
So what do you feel was the big difference between yesterday and today?
Personally speaking, I feel like I kind of got like a wake-up call from yesterday. After getting, I'm just gonna say, like I got by Bucci. Nothing else to do, just stay humble. So I feel like I just had to get my shit together. Of course, I'm just playing, oh my bad, I'm playing weak side against top lane. Doing Cassante, just playing against Rumble. Playing, of course, against a really good top laner build. I respect that guy played well, and I just had to do my own thing. And I think in the end, I didn't do anything too unnecessary, and we just won through that.
I feel like you're still having that nervous feeling after the game. It was a long one as well. Looking into the second week, what can we expect from Lightside? Imagine I have you on the Fantasy League. Why should I have you on the Fantasy League?
For me specifically, yeah, well, hopefully I'll evolve into like a really strong top laner. But for now, I think what you can expect for next week is Lightside cooking up some interesting drafts.
Man, everybody's a chef on Summer Split. This is getting confusing. I love it, Elijah. Well, it was a pleasure to meet you. I hope to meet you again. Have a lovely one. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
He was a handsome bloke, wasn't
cooking.
he? I said he was a handsome bloke, wasn't he? Jesus, Elijah. God damn.
That's why he's the prince. That's why he's called Prince Elijah.
I mean, honestly, he played that. There was one fight versus Natter where partly Natter really poorly mispositioned, and Elijah just recognized it and snapped decision, jumped on them with the ult, and what got me was because it's the empowered blast cone. Tried to blast cone away. Elijah ults him as he's midair, catches him, keeps him in the side of the wall he wants him. Really, really well played there. Because obviously it did look a little bit like a Sumi show, but I feel like a lot of people showed up here for the side of natives.
It was a team show from natives on this one. Light side on this one. You almost got me there. On light side, I corrected myself.
Light side.
I've learned my lesson. Be a master.
I was looking at yesterday's notes.
Burn that paper, Hipray. Just burn it away. Now, let's talk with Ruddy. They started really well in the first day. The second one was a tough one. You're not the person I was supposed to get, Don Jake. But we need to talk about something really serious, okay? Follow me on this one, okay? Prove to me right now that you don't have 5 AI players on your roster. No interviews with them through an entire split, not a single picture. How am I supposed to believe they're real people?
Well, after today's performance, I'm not sure that you would be, because they played like fucking bots.
I set it up. Okay, so tell me what happened in this day that made them play like that. Like, what is your insight to this situation?
I mean, I think that we aren't focused completely. We're not really taking practice as seriously as we could. And I think it showed. I think that there's an element of hubris in the organization at the moment, in the sense that we reached a very grand high last split. And I think that people assume that we are going to walk over this league. I think there's players on the team right now that assume that we're going to waltz our way to the trophy, that maybe are not recognizing the fact that we had to fight tooth and nail to even get to the playoffs, even if we waltzed over the playoffs last time. I think there's a lot of arrogance in the team at the moment, and I think this was humbling. I think everyone that played on the team today needs to realize that we just lost against 2 players that were playing in Division 3 last split and weren't even that good there. So for them to step up and put on Real Madrid performances against us is a real testament to how horrible we played.
That's like shooting a gun while a knife is pointing at you. You're looking at both sides at the same time. Going forward, obviously, there's a lot to talk with the team, apparently, from what you're bringing into this interview. How would you tackle this from the position you're in right now?
Position we're in, I mean, like, I'm very honest, hardworking as an owner. Like, my number one motto is I'll work you as hard as I'm working. And I work very hard at the moment, so we're going to go back, and the players will be rest assured know that I'm annoyed. They should be annoyed. It's going to be a shared burden, and we're going to have to hit the practice hard next week and come back, because this was an unacceptable performance from us.
Good point of view. That's a solid one. That's the only point of view. Thank you so much for this short interview. I'll let you go rest and talk with the team and just think about what happened. Have a lovely one. There you go.
No wank whatsoever.
I'll see you soon, I think. It was going so smooth. So smooth.
I love him. I love him so much.
As Donjek said, there was an element of hubris in Ruddy's gameplay today and an element of hubris in Alex's inventory.
I don't have an issue with the hubris, by the way. I like it.
It kind of brought him back-ish.
Yeah, a little bit. You start to stack that AD on it. When you get it active, you have a whole bunch to work with. But I don't know. I feel like that was a lot of mistakes going on there for Ruddy. I think Dom Jake highlighted that himself. I'm sure Ruddy know exactly what went wrong there, and they are going to have to look at this, because it's one of those things where you definitely learn more from your losses than you do your victories. And this is one of those losses where it's a pretty tough loss to swallow. I feel like that, especially the mid, Alex got completely stomped over there, and yes, obviously there was an element of him getting a couple of ganks from Agragas early and being abused for not having the flash, but it was a repeat mistake that kept happening to him. And this is one of those things where you do have to step back and be like, all right, why am I letting this happening? Why did I die 10 times this game? And see what they have to learn from it. But on the other side, light side, god damn, they look well good. I mean, Don Jake was saying, there was 3 players who are from Tier 3 or Division 3 playing
Division
in this
2.
game. Division 2? Okay, you said Division 2. Don Jake said Division 3, so I was just going with what
I was confused as well, but Sumi and Fruity Fresh both were playing in Rich Gang in Division 2.
Yeah, okay, so you have 2 ex-Division 2 players, and, to be fair, they were amazing. They were the 2 standout players on the side of Lightside, so really good pickups there for Lightside.
Well, that brings up them to 1 victory, Ruddy to the first defeat as well, which also unties the top of the ladder or the standings, which means let's move on to the last game of the day. It's going to be Venom Crest versus Blue Whites. We talked about the beginning of the show, Carvis, on this matchup. It's not going to be an easy one for them. Yesterday, it wasn't. They fought off Ruddy, and Ruddy were looking really good yesterday. But today they have Venom Crest, and I kind of feel like Venom Crest are a little bit more organized than Ruddy, so this could be even harder than it was before.
Yeah, I feel we already talked about Trial by Fire yesterday. This is going to be Trial by Inferno. The solo lanes especially, where I'm looking at Fierce and Lenny, should be looking to dominate the laning phase and see if Blue Whites can stand toe-to-toe with the Division 1 top of the top players when it comes to their roles. And again, reminder, most of the Blue-White players currently aren't even in Master in solo queue, so this is going to be try to topple the giants.
Yeah,
This is how you fight as a team, not as a solo queue.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is they played really well versus Ruddy yesterday as well. So I've got expectations on Blue Whites right now. However, to bring it back, Venomcrest played versus Verdant yesterday, and they really smashed them. Like Venomcrest look incredibly good right now, and this is actually similar to what we saw last season from Venomcrest. They started off very, very strong, and it looks like they're trying to repeat that. So Blue Whites, they've had a difficult run of schedule for the first week. They've played versus Ruddy and now Venomcrest. If they can overcome this, if they can make this look as close as it did yesterday versus Ruddy, I'm going to be very, very much sold on this team, and I'm going to have my eyes fixated on them going forwards. But we are into picks and bans, so Talia, the Vi, the Skarner, the Tristana, nothing too special being banned away here. Pretty much just the standard stuff. Corki still up and available. Expect to see Blue Whites be the side banning out. That typically is a red side ban more than a blue side ban. Trying to remind, there's also Cassante, the Caitlyn up and available. There goes the Caitlyn. I think this next one will probably be the Corki.
Yeah, and that would leave the Cassante open, which Lenny already played, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
They probably won't go as far as to first pick it. Most likely going to.
Why is available as well? So.
Oh, Ivern already.
Nah, calm down. This is a hover. But yeah, like leaving the
No,
way
anymore.
open, my.
Okay.
Ooh. Oh man, you got humbled real quick there, my guy. Yeah,
That's
Ivern.
interesting first pick.
So, what does Ivern say? Ivern says protect X carry. So, probably looking at something like a Jinx or an Aphelios and something like that as their game plan. I feel like Blue White's right here probably want to pick up one of those two, whichever one they favor. Personally, I prefer the Jinx over the Aphelios right now. I think with the Get Excited, your team fighting capability, your kind of safe self-pill you have suits you more here. So at the moment, hovering it, locking it in with the Sage 1, they've got frontline, they've got the Jinx. It's a bit of a denial. Now, what's Venomcrest's answer? What ADC do they want to be taking now that this Jinx is taken away from them?
They can either look for counter picks, or they can look for just, as you said, protect the Aphelios. They can play long range, pair it up with some probably two beefy frontliners, go for something like the Nautilus to take away from the Jinx. Instead, they lock in Hui and Jace.
Okay, flex picks across the board, other than the Ivern. But, like, Hui can go support, mid, or ADC right now. The Jace can go top or mid here. So they haven't really shown all that much on this rotation, so it's not all that bad. I'm interested to see what and how this is going to surround out, as Blue White just kind of racking their brain on what they want to be looking here. Are actually going to lock themselves the Azir as their mid laner. I genuinely thought we'd see something like a Nautilus getting picked up for them, but they decided to go away from that, locking the Azir so they have a bit of AP in the mid lane. And Blue White's definitely a lot more readable on what's going to happen. So bans, I expect to see something like a Cassante get banned away. Yeah, there we go. So pretty much understandable that we're going to see that. What are Venomcrest going to be banning? Because the thing is the bans could in a way tell us what they are actually playing and where these champs are going.
They're most likely going to target the support pool. It's either that or Vollux's weak side, like Ornn, what that he already showed. Okay, they are actually going to target the weak side pool tanks. What Blue Whites is trying to do here is to play a front-to-back composition that kind of kite backwards from the Ivern up front line. They are eventually going to have to pick something like that, or the Ivern shields will go to kind of waste, while they already have two long-range carries. So Venomcrest drafting quite an interesting composition in the first three picks. And if Blue Whites can somehow secure a Nautilus here, they're pretty well set up to just pop someone that's squishy and look to play a good old Jinx reset game.
Really easy to execute team fight as well, not even composition. If you bring in the Nautilus, then you can just top it off with a counter pick on the top side. I think if they're capable of doing that, this is a pretty stable pick and ban for them. They're protected in the champion select. Inside of the game, it's quite easy to execute as well.
Yeah.
Lulu is the last one, so Nautilus should be the answer for Blue Whites.
I think the ease of execution is going to be the big thing here for Blue Whites. Now, when you're playing a poke team, which right now Venom Crest kind of have under their belt, the biggest weakness you're going to have is is if you fall behind, it's really hard to hold. But Hui does somewhat alleviate that, has the mini Rumble to work with. The Melio getting picked up here, so they've got an Enchanter to buff up MKR on this Jinx. They've got the Sejuani to go to front line. And it feels a little bit like Blue Whites have put together what I think Venom Crest were initially thinking about grabbing for themselves. And I am still unsure on what the hell Venom Crest are actually playing, because the Nautilus is going to get hovered and locked in here for them. Meaning that, yeah, that is not going to be Huawei support. It's either going mid or ADC, and Jace is going to be flexed around the filling, depending on what this pickup is going to be. This could be an ADC. This could just be a top laner here. And hold on. No, don't worry.
No.
I'm used to the teams cooking. That's what I'm used to here. So I was like, wait, hold on. What's the hell going on? What are they going to pick up?
They must have a hidden card.
That's Zac top? Yeah, that's Zac top. It's
What's
Huawei
the
not
chance
top.
they play Jace ADC? Is that a thing they can play?
So last time I saw Jace ADC was when we had this like very brief period where it was at least Jace bot lane, and you just win by having more spells. That like you'd fight at level 1 or 2 and you just have double the spells of the enemy. I don't think that's what we're seeing here. I think it's going to be a Zac in the top lane. It's just going to be Huawei Naught bot and then Jace mid. I think that's the most simplistic thing to put together. But on the other hand, Blue Whites, genuinely, I prefer their comp. I think they have a lot more tools within this team to take team fights and control the game. You've got a lot of space that can be bought by the protection that the Melio is going to offer for the Jinx. The fact that you've got Sejuani and Aatrox standing in front of you. A Zir wall can also cut and find picks or even cut people off your Jinx. I just think the ease of execution's Blue White's favoured here. I think Venom Crest, while their team isn't bad, I think it's a lot harder to pull off.
I think the main thing I don't like about Blue White's composition, although as you say, ease of execution, easily there on Blue White's side. The one thing they're lacking is follow up to the main engage. They only have the Sejuani, but nothing to follow it up with. You don't want the Azir to hop in with the shuffle, because then he's standing in the back line.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough one to just you starting the fight, but maybe if you play from front to back, as you were stating at the beginning of the Champion Select, maybe it works. This could be their opportunity. They have a really good, solid Champion Select. Venom Crest, they're cooking. They tried to bring it all green, but then Jace appeared, so I'm kind of confused still. I don't know, but I'm colorblind. So I tossed it to someone who actually knows more about the game. It's going to be Veteran, and hey, Initialize is dead as well, right?
I am. It's actually me, Annie, with my bare tibbers.
Oh yeah! Wow, you actually have one of those things.
No, it's a legit. I'd forgotten I had this here. I was like, oh my god, I've actually got my tibbers here. I do own tibbers.
Yeah, I actually saw those. Like they were on sale at one of the Worlds. Anyway, you can grab those at all good Riot stores and Riot events. Anyway,
This is how we get hired.
These compositions are very interesting. I actually do, despite me having this whole like range engage thing, do think Zac is a very, very viable tool in towards the Jinx. I think Hui is a very viable tool towards the Jinx. I think when it comes to low mobility carries at long range, Hui has some very, very obvious positives. And I think Jace can be a good range damage translator in terms of the poke. The obvious issue though is your 2v2 in lane's a bit shaky until you get to that level 6, right?
Yeah, and I think like the case, I suppose the example game that I would go towards of that the Zac Hui being a really dangerous combo, and obviously adding in the Jace at this point is the game that G2 played with it. We had Broken Blade playing it top, the Hui was mid that time around, and they just consistently jump on the likes of, you know, like the mobile AD carries. The Varus did not get to play the game.
No,
and that's the concept here.
Yeah.
The Azir, the Jinx in particular, don't really have a lot of ways of staying safe from that. My one worry, I guess, is like Milio's actually quite good into Zac, because the Fireball, I'm pretty sure, knocks him out of his slingshot, doesn't it?
Yeah, so long as he's able to see that, and so long as you don't wait for those kinds of cooldowns, because Zac does play at angles where you do need different kinds of vision coverage. That's a huge problem with this champion. And also, I'm interested in how top lane goes here, because if Zac's ever able to find any kind of shadow plane towards midsection, there could be a big issue with that. Like, Zac around those kinds of plays is still absolutely insane, and the Zac top can look to do all of those kinds of things. I do think on the flip side, like the Azir should be quite powerful in this game.
Yeah.
That being said, I always think like when it comes to Hui versus in the mid lane, that's more or less favored in terms of when Hui feels comfortable at all stages into Azir. So there's a lot on this bot lane.
All eyes on bot lane and all eyes on the intro video that's coming right up because we're hitting the rift. We're back. Onto the rift we go once more. We've got ourselves that slightly more unusual style of draft. Jace in the mid lane is kind of coming back into focus after a little bit of time away from that lane, but Hui bot lane again. Feels like we've got a couple players that have been happy to pull up the AP carries. A little weird that we've seen it twice today, a couple Mickles and all that reference.
Less weird
if
Lingard
can make it happen like the last game.
Less weird if you check what was happening in NLC Div 2 last time around.
True.
And I didn't
you're
check.
absolutely right.
Yep. I didn't really check that much of what was happening in a lot of other Div 2s, that's sort of like a Raven League Div 2. But in NLC Div 2 was marked by a lot of AP carries in the bot lane. We actually had, I think the Aurelion Soul may have been fruity fresh. We had an Aurelion Soul bot lane, for example. I remember a lot of AP coming up. Generally, the lower elo that you get, the more willing people are to try certain setups that are theoretically strong. And yeah, I think Hui in the bot lane is strong. I actually really like and advocate for Hui as a support with Jinx. I think it's the easiest executes on the planet with that setup and some of the easiest 2v2 post-6 that you can get. But obviously, you know, I'll take what I can get. We've moved Hui into this lane. You know, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Thought process remains. Again, Nautilus can set up okay for the Hui, but
Yeah.
you'd expect the Jinx Milio, especially with the increased range, to have control of the lane, at least nominally, until a few more levels and a few more items, like a Lost Chapter, is complete for Lingard.
Yep, 100%. And honestly, a huge deal with this is going to be how much can BW really utilize that early pressure into plays around the map. Because as you're going to get that with the Milio Jinx, Milio himself, you're going to remember, Milio himself is not really going to be able to transfer that like a Nautilus or Leona can into this mid lane, for example, right? We'd want to be doing something on towards Jace early. It would be down to jungle to do something with that priority, but this isn't exactly a hardcore counter-jungling jungler. Sejuani wants to be making plays on sides, and Zack's going to be relatively safe. Jace will still be quite safe. Bot's going to be the real place where you're going to try to do something as that Sedge. So for Jinx and Milio, it's going to be about getting those pushes, moving back out, and making yourself kind of like insulated from the threat of those early ganks. And then Ivan can scale in, Zack can scale in, Jason can scale in, and you, crucially, can scale in as the Jinx and try to combat all of that. If Daisy is not used properly, Ivan's very resettable on. Jace is very resettable, and if he gets too hyphy, we saw Alex demonstrate that last game, though not quite intentionally, so it becomes all about this Zack presence that you need to be worried about.
And Zack, if they can find a way to get off vision and come from some of those unusual angles, could prove pretty scary mid lane. Bit of a chunk onto Pomo, fierce. I think we're stepping on forwards at 130 odd health for Pomo is pretty scary as the Okakas jumps onto Jonas, trying to damage back, but won't find too much.
It's a pretty good Jinx composition, to be honest, even if she is into, like, anti-Jinx stuff. Like, Aatrox is a very effective Juggernaut. Sejuani with a recent champ's obviously really good displacement from the Azir. Milio tried to defend her. Not much to cleanse from the Zac, but there is stuff for her to do this game as Lenny goes in.
Luxo needs to be a little bit careful here. Has to flash away from the root caller. I think that might have been death. Summoner blown from a bit of a wandering drive-by gank there from the Ivor.
Yeah, good lanes coming out here from Venom Crest. A good setup in general. Good setups on both sides, right? Unfortunately, despite Zac being really optimally used in situations like the lane swap, we have been dragged into standard lane, so don't expect too much to occur for about 9 minutes.
Right, and at this point,
boring mode.
We move away, and we once again have some standard lanes with the standard laning stuff. No real action happening as yet. It's been a relatively stable experience, which We already heard it
like,
earlier in the day. Veteran has been advocating
people
against...
intuitively know that it's more boring to play standard lanes. That's why they play ARAM. They know this is more boring. I'm so... Anyway.
Moving away as violence is occurring, which is much more interesting. This isn't standard. This is much more like we're looking for it. The crushing more, Dragsy gets back. Stays alive, sub 100 HP. And MKR, and he gets a rough time of it down here as the combo begins to land.
Yep. Zoning BW off even further. Sejuani is not going to be able to help out whatsoever. Jinx, Milio, they get to go away, but that's what a victory looks like for them there as they lose all of their minions under tower. So a very, very precarious situation that Venom Crest have forced onto the latest people to join the NLC, aka No Lions.
Of course, they're here on very short notice. They've joined the league with very little time to prep, to know who they're going against. They've come up from Division 2 despite doing very well down there, obviously, but it puts them in an odd position where they probably don't have the greatest amount of prep versus their oppositions, but that's also true of a lot of the Division 1 teams who won't have that much idea about what Blue-White are necessarily capable of because they wouldn't have been expecting to play them. And that means that in some ways they're in an unknown quantity in these early weeks. You've got the synergy. Your roster hasn't changed. You can play your game style and theoretically catch some of these teams off guard. They had a solid game yesterday. It wasn't enough to get them a lead, but the early game in particular felt like a pretty well-rehearsed machine.
And typically speaking, right, you're going to book scrims with people who are going to be playing at your level. People were booking scrims, if anything, assuming that they even managed to get groups on time, with that Lions Creed lineup never ended up occurring. Blue-Whites would not have had that slot that could have been there to get that kind of practice. Now that they're up at this level, you would assume they're going to get more practice at this level, and they will improve from that. But it's a situation that could have started earlier, didn't start earlier for them, so they are definitely coming on the back foot. But they are making a go of it, and you should see significant improvement over the course of the year.
They get a nice little combo, but it's still going to be 2v2. The turnaround CC is good. Theokakas needs to back away. Does not have the ult themselves, but it does not matter. Because Lenny gets bouncing, and down goes the Aatrox. And Venomcrest, the other team that joined the league this year, say welcome to the NLC. We hope you enjoy your stay.
Zack's such a disturbing champion sometimes, and he is snowballing in this lane. Good kill, good lane. Aatrox on the back foot with no TP, and Sejuani having to show him means that if Venomcrest think they can do something bot lane, and they do have that lost chapter out on Hui, I can speak English, and if Jace thinks he gets an angle over the Azir, they're gonna take it because they have full knowledge of what it is Black Whites can do right now. It's not true the other way around.
Need to just stabilize a little bit here to Blue Whites. They'll be fine if they can get the 2 items, if they can manage the Zac, but of course that all is kind of predicated on the Zac being a little anemic, of being held down, not being ahead of the game, and a Zac that's ahead of the game is such an obnoxious beast. You called it disturbing, and I think that's fair, because suddenly you don't need the follow-up to kill the Jinx if you land on them. The Zac can do it all by themselves.
Yeah, 100%. Or you can also just isolate the Jinx away from anybody looking to protect her, and it's not like you have anything there that's effectively anti-knockup. That doesn't really exist in the game. And Nautilus is the follow-up you would get with the Zac and Daisy, which are all knockups. It's not like there's an Ashe here that the Milio is looking to cleanse. It's a much harder situation than that. And what haven't I mentioned here? The magical artillery strikes of the play over and over and over again with all of the power that a Femboy has. So that Jinx is going to have a very rough time later on if she doesn't get to snowball, if she doesn't get to play back, if she doesn't get to get a guaranteed reset and come in with her R.
And of course, Jinx, much like things like the Ari Viego comps when that was a big thing last year, you need to get the first kill, or you're not getting a lot of the value out of what your comp is supposed to be doing. And of course, you have got the Milio with double kind of attack speed carries to work with, but Theokakas has got a Daisy. The dredge line into the double knock-up with the depth charge means, well, that's a Milio who's going absolutely nowhere. Fierce even throws out a 21-gun salute courtesy of Jace's hammer form to try and get a little bit out there. Apologies, Mercury Cannon. Do you think I'd get the Jace forms right by this point? But hey, slight misspeak from me, but not a miss from Venomcrest, who find a second kill on the other side of the map.
I couldn't even imagine being a play-by-play caster, because that's the stuff that, like, I'm terrible with, like, remembering names and all of that.
We had that last game, remember?
Yeah, like, I'll get the concept of what should be happening, right? The names, like, there's QWER, you know, that's kind of it, you know? That's all that there is for me. I guess you can A-click sometimes. Anything else, I don't get it. That is magical Femboy versus, okay, Jinx. I mean, everyone knows Jinx, right? Like,
From
that
Arcane,
one's
right?
fine. Yeah, I mean, well, Jinx from Arcane, holy heck.
Second season coming out soon. But I get what you mean, but I think for me, I just enjoy the kind of really sort of over-the-top bombastic names a lot of the abilities get, like Scan of the Weak, Cull the Meek, Binding Eclipse being Gravitum Q for Aphelios. There's some great names out there. They feel very satisfying to yell in dramatic fashion, but hey, this is me, so, you know.
I actually think that, like, the knowledge a play-by-play needs is very underrated by most of the community. I actually think you have to study more, technically speaking, as a play-by-play than as a color.
Right, yeah, completely agree. Yeah, keep saying that. I'll have this clip somewhere and
well,
send
no.
over.
I mean, okay. Let's observe this fight, for example. Go on, go ahead.
Right, well, let's get some of those ability names rolling as a depth charge and the Glacial Prism begin to fly on through. Jonas needs to think about flashing over the wall. Arctic Assault already used, so no ability to queue out with that ability.
Yep, so see, there's two things at play there. One is you remembered every single name that's going on there and every single thing that's happening, but the second thing is you have to acknowledge everything that's happening in real time, right? Whereas a color caster can pick and choose what it is that they want to acknowledge at that particular point. My argument would actually be, if you want one of these two things to be high elo, honestly, a play-by-play caster being high elo, because they have to call out everything in real time and don't get to choose, is much more useful than someone who can just work with hindsight as a color caster, right? I actually think you're the one that really has to be high elo, rather than the color caster being high elo. They have to know more of the theoretical parts and they can focus on constructing narrative, etc. But you're the one really displaying knowledge constantly. It's not an intuitive thing, but when you think about it, I think it's necessarily true.
I think there's definitely an argument to it. That's why the likes of Medic has always been such a cool play-by-play. His knowledge of the game very, very high. There's Lenny. Gets a decent stretching strike and should be in an okay position to escape. Has to use the ultimate to do it, and resting nuances aside, it does feel like Venom Crest are the ones who have been very in command of this game. They had a solid early start yesterday as well. I'll let it slip in the mid-game a little bit as Lingard misses that spiraling despair.
You have to die, come on.
Did I rocket?
Oh!
Flashed away from, and now towards the top lane we go. Jonas, the Kindred yesterday, kind of looking similar on the Sejuani, consistently attacked in their own jungle. Nowhere is safe.
Yep. I mean, they were able to... Oh, no. The teleport coming in straight up. They didn't clear it.
They don't know. The choppers are down.
Here we go.
Back. And they'll start throwing down a few more of those abilities. A Molten Fissure and a Grim Visage means there's nowhere for MKR to go.
Yeah, the moment that R came down from the north, so it's pointless using your flash, pointless using your barrier. Saved both of them, but wasn't able to save themselves. Very good response play from Lingard there. Looks close to BW getting a victory in towards that bot lane, but they're just off on a lot of different things right now. These are things that will come with time, but as is Venom Quest very much in the driver's seat, very much looking to push the game further and further into their favor. I'm excited for what happens when the Zac comes out on the map, to be honest. I think this is going to be a very, very destructive Zac with the setup that we have here. It's likely to be Pomo that has to make the significant plays to defend once that dive from the Zac ends up coming in. Because bear in mind, Zac's not going to give you a free reset when he does it. That's the reason why he's like an exception to my rule of ranged engage, right? He's going to be stuck in passive mode. You have multiple plays basically with this Zac to get it right. It's not like anyone else who necessarily isolates themselves and gives Jinx the free reset that she wants for the engage, right? So long as that passive is up. So I'm very interested to see how the rest of the
and then the Daisy as well, and you can do this kind of thing because root callers allow you to get a lot of people like Nautilus into melee range without having to hit a dredge line. A combo so frustrating to manage, and Jonas again really struggling on this step up to Division 1 to stay safe in their own jungle, and that's just a coordinated team consistently predating upon this Sejuani. It has been pork for breakfast, dinner, and lunch somewhere in between the both.
And they're going for more, by the way. So 3 versus 2 on the bot lane there. Here comes Daisy.
Boy, into the separate, the spiraling despair. Daisy's there. They will trade one back, but the problem is who's died, namely both of them, and the Jinx is just not there to clean the wave.
Yep. Magical Femboy here, absolutely blowing them up and getting stronger every second. Blackfire Torch now out on the way in bot lane. This Jinx being put significantly behind. The best case scenario would be if you're able to utilize that side lane to get Jinx more and more farm to try to let her catch up, maybe give us some solo gold, solo XP. but you'll be giving up the Herald on topside to do so, you'll be giving up control around topside to do so, and honestly, Venom Crest have so much engaged, they could just shift top into mid into bot, and you've just given them priority by doing it. So instead, they're going to go for this Jinx in mid lane setup with a Zero on bot lane, much safer and much less likely to just give Venom Crest a domino of acceleration. Looks like they'll even contest the Herald by moving in towards this setup, so that's great by them as Ivan decides that the Drake is more what he feels like getting at this point.
All the while, Fierce shoves out the bot lane. All the while, the shove in mid continues and the top lane's already fallen. You've got an opportunity in 2 kills on the Jace, 2-0-3 on Lingard, particularly after that bottom play. The Zac ahead of the curve, the Ivern involved with all but 1 kill. That is such a good set of gold distribution. Blue-White are down 6,000 gold, and it's not even 20 minutes. And that is what's going to start happening. The Milio needs to be afraid of absolutely every little bit, because any engage, the follow-up is going to be obscene.
And here looks like a massive grouping in the mid lane coming up for Venom Crest. They really don't feel any of the threat from Sejuani. Yeah. I mean, double ults here under that tower, that could be perceived as a threat, but they definitely don't seem to be expecting at this exact point.
Oh!
Way in these positions as well. Along with that Jace, it's just gonna be a double poke behemoth over and over again. This is the kind of position Buddy wanted to be in last game, right? Like, play Sway over Talia, for example, and you can more or less do ways that they wanted, and why it's so punishing to be pushed in like this against such a composition.
And he gets a little bit over-eager there, flashing to see whether he can get something on Bullocks that doesn't quite manage it. But all the while, mid lane we look, and Lingard claims up that mid-tier 1, and Venom Crests. We knew them for it in last split, but they've always been a team from, well, at least this year, with very distinct ways they want to play the game. Fierce flashes away from the Emperor's Divide. I think he would have been fine anyway, and Jonas is going to keep wandering down. But that's a level 9 Sejuani. I don't think you're going to get that much value there.
Yep, but I mean, what can Sejuani do? The more that Venom Crest pressure, the more she has to group, and the more she groups, the more she has to share XP, and the more that she shares XP, the more and more BW will fall behind and behind and behind. When you're in this kind of position, as Venom Crest, it snowballs. League is still an inherently very, very snowbally game. As long as they just start to contest camps as they're doing these pushes, it becomes a very difficult game for BW to come back on unless they force a fight. And it's not like they lack for tools. They have the Sedge, they have the Azir, but Venom Crest still need to overstep. And it's very particular members of Venom Crest that need to overstep as well. Ones who are incentivized to play about 2 screens away, the Jason the Hui namely. It's not like Ivan with Daisy is ever going to give them that big of a risk. It's not like Zack's ever going to give them that big of a risk. And it's not really like Simpy's going to give them that big of a risk either, so looks very difficult right now for BW.
Okay. They must hold and try and get to at least 2 items. That's got to be the bare minimum here, because I think anything less, and you're just never going to have the damage to win a fight. And this is just going to keep happening. Spiraling Despair, not quite enough for the burn. It's a Leandries and a Blackfire Torch. And they set the Funeral Barge aflame. An Elastic Slingshot will slingshot him straight around the moon and into orbit. They are well and truly out of range of gravity and free floating in the deep ranges of space. Nothing for Blue Whites to do out there but die a cold, lonely death.
Yep, and you're seeing, look at that way-keeping landing. Sedge looked like she's kind of accepting her fate there. But Will Move Back does have to burn the flash. Yeah, this looks like a fairly invincible formation right now. Has Zac even burned passive once this game?
No, he hasn't.
No.
He burned Flash trying to get Veluxa under tier 2, and that was it.
Wow. Yeah, this looks like a fairly one-sided affair here then. But let's see, there's still opportunities. I mean, I know the 8k goal behind is a bit of a cope, but
it's on Jace, actually. I think you'll find that's where the opportunity is.
Wow.
I don't have a great sense of humor. I don't know whether you've figured this one out yet.
It's fine. That makes us perfect for each other. I don't have one either.
Beautiful. It's why we work so well together, mate. All right.
Exactly.
Moving on from that diabolical dad joke. If you were in Blue White's position, what on earth do you do with this game state? Because realistically, the game is lost. So, how on earth do you try and either get value out of this game or try and force a mistake out of Venom Crest or turtle in some way? Is there any way to do that?
Yeah, given that there's a 3-minute delay, you could slam a huge bet on Venom Crest. I would get a lot of value, I think. To be honest with the way that the game is right now, it's significantly far behind for BW. And the way that you want to get in and win a fight is through burst. There's just not the itemization that's there to do so, and Jinx is so far behind, she's on one item. It doesn't exist. There are 2 champions where you can possibly do that, which is the Jace and the Hui, and they have no incentive to put themselves in that position. They do all their damage without being in that range. It's very, very difficult for them to claw back here. I don't see it. It's not just wrong composition from Venomcrest, especially into that Jinx, into that big focal point, and that focal point isn't really there. Observe it, you will. Observe.
And then they throw down the redemption afterwards. It just doesn't make a difference. Lenny throws out some stretching strikes and says, and now Kiss, and he's playing dolls with a whole of blue whites. They're looking more like voodoo dolls. The limbs ripped off, and the pain is oh so real. 11 to 1 is the kills.
Observe, if you will, the difficulty of even playing Jinx at all here. If she's able to touch them, she is able to get all in on by just one of the most difficult compositions. Zac wasn't even close there, and if Zac burns passive, you're still not getting the reset on the Jinx. You can never really start going. This is why you have, like, Eclipse Aatrox on topside. They're trying to find ways to burst, but the damage just isn't there.
It's so hard. The damage is so anemic, and the blood loss is getting more and more extreme. Daisy tanks up Baron, so everybody's health bars is just fine. And that's not including the Zac or the Nautilus that would be standing in front there too. Lose a dragon, but that's about all there is to write home about blue-whites. Looking like red and white right now. Blood-smeared white flag of surrender.
Yeah, Cloud Drakes, but nowhere near a Cloud Soul. Not a Cloud Soul point. Not any kind of realistic threat that forces Venomcrest to have to change anything about what they're doing for that trade. It's only something that will pay dividends if they're able to survive for another 10 minutes. And that looks less and less likely by the second.
And the problem was always going to be this composition for Venomcrest from ahead was always going to be so difficult to manage because the tanks are unkillable and you can't knock away all of them. And the follow-up is so, like, incidentally dangerous that what would normally be small chips is now real threats of knocking people at least home and often to the grey screen. How on earth does MKR get value? And the answer is not really at this point.
Yep, I mean it's a rough one. This Daisy as well. Sorry, this Ivan. Ivan's a Daisy delivery system. I can call him Daisy. All right. On the 10 Magi stacks as well. Oh,
Ivan Luigi then as they try to get on in.
Isolate, no damage.
Drops
no
all
damage.
the cards though. The deck was stacked against them from the early
game.
A double kill. Make that a triple and then a solo laner kill each for Venomcrest. They bite deep and the poison brings down the blue-whites. No oxygen left. Nothing left to be done but just stare at the grey screen and shrug. They'll have to do better next week.
It was a really strong play by Pomo. There's just no damage to follow up there, and there's the core issue, because Venomcrest had all the tools they needed to attack every single member of BW that could possibly do anything at all, and shut them down. Brilliant victory, very one-sided from Venomcrest. Good performance by them.
It was always going to be an incredibly difficult challenge for blue-whites to step up to a stage like this on very little notice, and then they get 2 very difficult teams in their first 2 days. It is a harsh welcome to the NLC, but hey, the Elden Ring DLC is coming out, and we all know that games like that teach you that dying the first time doesn't matter all that much. It's what you learn from it and where you end up at the end of the process.
Yeah.
But it's still going to feel, I'm sure, pretty disappointing to come out of a game like this and go, we just got rolled.
I mean, when it comes to, like, we see a lot of Rumble now. I want to see more Zac as well, because into these low mobility carries, you can see how insane that pick can be. Hats off to them for that draft and that composition. Beautiful execution.
Thank you, Veteran. It's been a pleasure casting with me. This was by far the cleanest game of the day, and hopefully this will be the cleanest DOS to the desk. Take it away and end the day for us, guys.
He said cleanest DOS of the day when he said toss, not a clean one initialized. Sorry, bro.
I mean, I tried to initialize, but here Prentice on the desk, it doesn't allow anything to go through. Just like Venomcrest didn't allow anything from blue-whites. It's just Venomcrest show from start to finish. Carvis, you talked a lot. I gotta put you on the spot.
I take no responsibilities over the other Finnish members appearing on the broadcast. I am just here as a representative of the casting community.
Even his accents change all of a sudden just to run away from responsibility.
So hold on. After Duckling starts to leave his Danish brothers behind the sides of the Swedes, we got Kravis also breaking away from the Finns. What's going on? People are just changing region. You're fair weather fans. Look.
To be fair, I have already been proven to be a turncoat twice, so I have a history behind it.
Wait, what?
I've rooted for the UK more than once.
I mean, it doesn't end well rooting for the UK teams. It never does, unfortunately. Going back to this game, though, there's honestly not a lot to say other than Venom Crest just completely outskilled Blue Whites. I don't think Blue Whites... There was a lack of engage brought up in Champ Select, and that was definitely an issue for them. There's no way you can deny that. But I don't think the core identity of the team was that bad. I just think, first of all, Ivan... It seems to be very, very powerful right now. It's really cool to see that, but... Honestly, just Venom Crest across the board, like the whole team were just playing that really, really well. It was a super clean game from them. The Zac versus Aatrox is a really interesting matchup where I really see how this can be Zac favored. Like Kravis actually raised this when we were in game. I was like, how does the Aatrox heal here? Because the Zac is just perma-healing off casting his own spells. Aatrox has to be auto-attacking, or using his own spells and landing them, but you can't actually do that when you're just perma-CC'd. Especially if you pair it up with like a Sejuani. It was just so unplayable for an Aatrox. It was, honestly, Venom Crest draft was really, really big brain. I'm a massive fan of it.
And
so let's talk with, I know you want to chat, and I'll allow you, Carvis, but let's chat a little bit with Blue Whites. Egats is waiting for us in the interview. Welcome back. I got you back.
Hello.
This was a tough one. Venom Crest are looking complete. I don't know. They're like demolishing everyone. So talk to me how it was, the experience versus them, and what do you believe went wrong not to allow your game plan to shine as you wanted it to shine.
Well, I mean, they completely destroyed us. There's no denying that. I think we had some issues in draft as well as just getting skill capped, I guess. But we couldn't really do much in the early game, so we couldn't get to a state where the enemies aren't like too ahead and can just poke us down before anything happens. So there was definitely a lot of mistakes there, so we can learn from that and maybe improve for next week.
So tell me something. Your team has been together for a while. How is communication and how are you guys dealing with this new sort of a division? Is everything okay? Is it hard to get a better communication? Is this harder to get a communication than it was before?
I think well, currently our AD carry was today at like the dentist, so he couldn't speak at all since his mouth is in so much pain. But I don't think it really like difference in the communication. But I think usually our comms are like pretty good and clean. So I mean, it's just that everybody is Finnish, so we can speak in our national language and can communicate very easily with each other and like make sure everybody is on the same page. I think our communications are like completely fine, but we just need to fix a couple things in draft and just usually gameplay, and it's all good.
You have a week to do it now, so no pressure. You just joined the Division 1, so obviously you need some time to adjust. Obviously you got nerfed today with the fact that your AD carry couldn't talk. That's complicated. But my last question to you is, we have Carvis on the desk and supposedly he knows you guys, but as soon as you lost, he completely revoked his Finnish identity. So please let me know how you want to handle this.
Oh, I'm beating up Carvis next time I see him. That's unbelievable.
Now we're talking promoting violence on the broadcast. Thank you so much for the interview, Egats. I hope to see you again, and best of luck for week 2. Let's see what you guys are able to cook. Have a lovely one. See ya.
See ya.
Carvis, good luck.
He's dead. he's gonna have you, mate. It's done.
Help me!
I mean, I've heard the country's not that big, so he'll probably find you, no matter where you hide. You told me that.
It's tiny. There's like 5 million of you.
Yeah, that is 5.1 million, I think, is the total number.
Right, if I had to find someone...
I think you're down, so that should be 5, okay?
It's about to go down by 1.
But yeah, it's rough. Having those, as Eggett said, not having your AD carry talk in this sort of a composition.
Yeah. That kind of complicates things, but in communication-wise, Venom Crest started popping not only in communication but in gameplay as well. So let's talk with him to understand what happened. Godo, this is smooth. We talked about this before, that you let me know, like, oh, we made the team. I was cooking. You cooked too well. Damn, Venom Crest is looking spicy. What can you tell me about this? How are you feeling with this start?
Yeah, I mean, pretty happy with the start. I guess we trolled a bit yesterday. It was more controlled today, but overall it's looking good, I guess, in officials. So it's fine.
Don't let me know something. Previous split, Spring Split, Venom Crest started so well. Everybody was like, oh, Venom Crest is the team. These guys are the best. And then something happened. It looked like people understood how Venom Crest played, but from my perspective, and correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't seem like you guys only have one plan. It seems like you play different play styles, and it's really hard to understand how you do it.
I mean, yeah, last split we kinda lacked of experience on the players, so and I mean myself too. So we kinda didn't have much game plans possible. I mean, we tried to work on some stuff and things like that, but it was a bit hard to really do. But on this one, I guess we have a lot of more of experience, so we can do almost everything we want, and we will see how it goes further in the season, kinda.
We're seeing a little bit of a rise in Ivern, specifically on NLC, and the damage he provides in early game is kind of I can't find a word that should be allowed on broadcast, so do explain to me why Ivern is getting so much attention right now, if possible.
Because it's kind of the GOAT in terms of pilling and in terms of skirmish also. You can do pretty much everything with it. Draft team in almost every composition, I would say, kinda like stuff as Siege we did right there. Also with more front to back type of comp, I mean you can have everything you want with this champion. So I mean there is more reason, but it's kinda the champ is just really really strong right now. With the items also are pretty strong. So
let me throw a curveball to you. You've seen 2 days of NLC Summer Split. If you could give me the top 4 teams of the split so far, who would you say it was?
I mean, I would say Nordus and Rudy. And for the fourth, I'm not sure. I would say between GMG, Verdant, and Natives. I think Natives still have a lot of potential, since they have Painful and Theoloris, which are really good players. So I think they can do stuff, even if they are in O2 this week. But I would say between these 3 teams, I didn't see enough to really know. But yeah.
You guys are looking really, really complicated to deal with. So best of luck for week 2. I'm liking what I'm seeing, Venom Crest. Good job on the cooking of the team. And let's see what you're able to provide for the next week. Have a lovely one, Godo. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Bye.
They're looking really complicated to deal with. That's the thing. Venom Crest from Spring Split were a one-way road, but this doesn't seem like they are the same Venom Crest anymore. They look more dangerous than they looked in Spring Split.
Yes, I think that is a very fair call. I think Zubac looked really good for them in Spring, but I do think he was a little bit of a one-track player. He had certain champs that suited his pool. I feel right now we're seeing a little bit more from this new variant of Venom Crest. They just look super clean, and I'm very excited for them. Obviously, it's very early days, but I do still quite confidently stick by what I said at the beginning of the day, where I feel when you asked for my top 3 teams, Nord and Venom Crest very much today proved to me that they deserve that from me. Ruddy, I don't know, man. I still think they're definitely capable of achieving that top 3 status, in my opinion. I mean, no one expected that miracle comeback from them in Spring, so I feel that they're a team you can't quite count out, and I think their ability to be able to cook is what's going to make them unique. from a lot of the other teams in the league. But then again, everyone's cooking, like you said multiple times, Archer. But I do feel like after today, I'm pretty confident in at least 2 of my top 3 making it into that top 3 spot for the end of the split. Honestly, Venom Crest and Nord right now do look far and beyond all of the other teams in this league. I'm very excited for when they go toe to toe, because that's going to be a fun matchup between those 2 teams.
And I agree, it's way too big of a kitchen right now. A little bit what is happening, but let's move on. Let's talk about the MVPs of the day. We had 4 of them. It's your job to head on to Twitter and tell us who do you think should get it at the end of the day. There's a Portuguese folk there. I don't want to, bias you, but you should vote on him. Everyone should get a vote from you, but there's a Portuguese individual. I'm just saying. And I'm not running away from my country, by the way, Curtis.
Yeah, you see, we got someone who abandons Denmark, someone who abandons Finland, but not Archer. He stands by his Portuguese brothers.
Yeah,
that's respectable.
Demolished non-stop for years and years, but I'm still sticking with Portuguese.
Hey, at least I own up to it.
We have been so punished. We've suffered so much here, Brian. It's damn.
Don't worry, bro. I'm a UK fan. Like we had it. The worst thing is we had it good, and then it fell apart. So we've had a taste of glory, and then I've immediately crumbled once again. So it stings. It stings when you're on top for a brief period of time, or not on top, but able to go toe to toe with some of the top teams.
You know what else is complicated?
I didn't abandon it. Go on.
Predictions. Show us.
Not for me. Wait.
Oh gosh.
Oh no! It went bad. I thought I did good.
The turn coding saved me 5 points. Easy.
The hubris on you, Headbrain.
Hey, I still won more than I lost, right? So I'm calling it a victory.
Somehow.
Oh, that sucks it a little bit. That's like what, a 4-point day for me? Oof.
Well guessed. Defend yourself.
Hey, if I hadn't been a turncoat, this could have been a whole lot worse.
I did say to you, I was just saying to him, but if he got 0 points, if he literally got nothing right, we just never invite him back. I think that's only fair.
The guest that joins NLC and gets everything wrong should be banned.
Yes.
Yes.
Boy, am I glad I got something correct.
No, for the... Oh, gosh.
Oh.
Wait, I'm not hearing anything from you, Arkarom, anymore. What on earth is this? A big fat 0.
You got -2, my guy. What are you talking about?
Damn, he's down here with me.
I'm just setting the line base, okay? This is where we start from 0 points, and then you decide where you want to go, up or down. I'm just setting the rules. I'm just there, chilling. Don't worry, the season is long. It's only day 2. Oh gosh, I need to step up.
Arkarom, let me make it clear to you. We are currently both worse than Duckling.
Oh, that's sad, isn't it?
You're even with him. You're not any better.
You know what? What I'm doing, I'm just doing bench press. I have everybody on top of me. I'm just bench pressing everybody. I'm just raising the volume, and then I don't know. I'm trying to defend something that shouldn't be defended.
So here's my defense. I raised Aragon. He's my son. He shone into great places last split because of my training. His predictions were beautiful. I'm very proud of him for that. I decided now I would give everyone a chance. So I had a bad day 1 deliberately. But now I can play, first week deliberately. So now I can play the catch-up game. So you've all had your moment. I'm going to strike back next week, and you're all going to be eating your words.
Yeah, same.
Somebody clip
you,
this. Yeah, Carvis.
Yeah.
Same as Hiprin. I intentionally played the first week badly.
Yeah, here's the thing though. I get to play every week. You don't. So
that was the joke.
You're in trouble, my guy.
Somebody clip Hiprain's words, and if he doesn't get top 4, you should be punished. The chat should decide what should happen to you.
I'll eat a lemon on air.
May I recommend eating something that is disgusting in a sauna? I have experience in it.
I mean, that's the most
lemon sour as hell, bro.
thing.
I'll eat a whole lemon. I'll eat a
whole
lemon.
lemon on live broadcast.
Yeah, if I'm not top 4, I'll eat a whole lemon. Okay, a whole half of a lemon.
No, it's a whole lemon. Clip it and send it.
Have to get a
Now,
lemon.
talking about predictions and bringing things that you shouldn't, let's see your Fantasy League. What is the Fantasy League? Let me tell you then. Head on to Twitter and sign up for Fantasy League of Summer Split. It's open for everybody, so you pick the players, you make your own team, and you will bask in glory if you're good enough. If you're good enough, you see like initialize at the top of the standings of the Fantasy League. If you have no idea what you're doing, well, you join Duckling at the bottom of the league. Maybe we'll kick him out just because he's that bad, but at the end of the day, just so you can have fun. And I just love the idea of banning Duckling. And talking about that, let's see week 2, what we have in store. By the way, start buying lemons. It's going to be Ruddy versus Venom Crest to open up the show. That's going to be a massive one. Natives versus Lightside, followed by North and Verdant. And then to finish it up, yet again, Blue Whites will play it the last game, but they'll be facing DMG, which is also looking menacing. How are you feeling about these games? Any games that stands out for you?
I mean, Tuesday's banging, right? Like, there's so many good games. I mean, game 1 and 3 of Tuesday, like North versus Verdant and Ruddy versus Venom Crest, they're going to be super, super fun. Day 2, Ruddy versus Verdant's always fun just because the online jabs getting taken are quite funny. Lightside versus Nord, I think, is actually going to be quite a fun one on the final game of next week as well. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Some pretty good games coming up.
I like it. So tune in on Tuesday and Wednesday as well, June 11 and June 12. It's up to you to join us. Now let's talk about goodbyes. Carvus, it was lovely to have you on the desk. What do you have to say as final words? Nothing's going to happen to you. Just kicked out of your own country. Tell me.
Been an absolute pleasure working with you guys. Nice evening of games, and I hope the Finnish people do better in the future now that I'm not here cursing them.
Well, welcome to Division 1, where you get flamed for just existing. What about you, Hipbrain? How you doing?
I'm alright. I'm going to go get a 20 bucks of Mackie D nuggets after this, I think.
Now he's talking. Bring in the lemon on that one. From us, that's all. It was lovely to have you on that side of the screen. It's nothing without you. So tune in on Tuesday and on Wednesday as well. My name is Alshana Maya. I'm your host, and I'll see you soon. Until then, keep climbing. Welcome to summer, baby. I'll see you soon.
Shockwave! What a Naros! Oh my word, they are melted! They are down! A wipe coming in from the side of Lightside. Both of them now gone, the soul has been denied, but the fight not yet decided. Lenny in the front line though takes so much damage in the back line. Yankee having fun with his opponents. Triple kill for Rusty Sniper.
Finds the re-engage into the multi-man counter-strike.
Lenny's going for it. Gets the free man in the jump. Duvak stealing form after form. Raptors going down. EMP can't deal with Deadhound as they crumble.
The pick in the clutch when it needed to happen. Torrent jumping back in. Bucci able to know where to. Here comes Ed with the multi-man drowsy. It's mounted soul for Ruddy. And here comes the aerial. Torrent has already been able to take out the enemy support. But the damage from Ruddy is too much. Silky Smath, do the math, Lightside. There's too many people here for you to handle.